welcome to the most fly by the seat of our pants episode yet.
Yes.
0 notes, no notepad, no show prep, nothing.
Nothing.
We are lucky we are even sitting down to record.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Ample Flame Podcast. I'm Ben. This is my lovely wife, Meg. We are sitting down to talk food.
Yeah.
It's kind of fitting because at the time of recording this, tomorrow is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And why not talk about food?
Yeah.
So
thus the impetus for this episode.
So there's a ton of stuff going on, period, right now. And then you throw the holidays in.
Right.
And everything else. And it was like, oh, we should have sat down yesterday and recorded the podcast. We're going to do it today.
Right.
And here it is. It's afternoon. It's 12:30 right now.
Yes.
We're just now sitting down.
Yes.
Yeah,
I still got like rolls and pies and all that stuff to make today. So I'll be a little rushed, but it's okay.
Yep. And like I said, no show prep whatsoever.
Yeah.
But this is a subject that we both feel very, very strongly about.
Yes.
And so I don't think there's much show prep needed.
Right.
To talk about food.
Yeah.
This is a subject that is very near and dear to both of us.
Yes.
And
kind of for different reasons for both of us, but now we've kind of come to this same point now. Yeah. Why don't you, because you were telling me something yesterday, and I think that might be a good jumping off point. You were talking about something related to Tyson. So you want to rattle off that headline real quick?
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. What were we
What
talking
did I
about
read?
yesterday? Okay. Not that we should really care too much. I think that was your initial reaction was like, who cares?
Right.
We don't buy Tyson meat, so it doesn't affect us, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday there's a news article. Tyson Foods just closed down, I believe, 2 plants in Texas.
Okay.
I know one for sure was in Texas. I'm not sure where the other one was. I think it was also in Texas.
Probably.
And this is like beef processing. And what this is all concerning is the beef market in America has gotten kind of out of control right now. If you have bought any beef recently, you know it's sky high through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
We have actually struggled buying a whole cow from anybody we know.
Yes.
So there's 2 worlds going on. I guess I could just kind of talk about it a little bit. There's the generic feedlot system.
Right.
You grow out your cattle, you run them on a feedlot operation,
Mm-hmm.
you grain them. That is what I would call the lowest quality beef.
Yes.
As far as what we want out of our meat.
Mm-hmm.
What we are looking for is an animal that lived its normal God-given life.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of cows, it lived on grass its whole life, never tasted grain, and just went on to greener pastures.
Right.
Went to feed our family. No antibiotics, no chemicals, clean meat.
Right.
Clean meat, clean food equals clean us.
Yeah, right.
So there's the feedlot situation where they confine feed cattle.
Right.
They might give them hay, but for the most part, it's just grain. They
rations.
confine them. They give them grain. They have it down to a science. They know how long it takes to grow out a cow, how much grain it's going to take. It's really down to a science. It's part of our factory food system of how animals are raised.
Right.
This is not the kind of meat that we eat.
Mm-hmm.
This is the type of meat that the majority of Americans partake of,
right,
whether they want to or not.
Right. Because that's what's in the grocery store.
That's what's in the grocery store. It's the cheapest way, supposedly, even though it's subsidized, to get beef on the table.
Right.
Okay, so the next option is you have the rancher operation where you turn the cattle out to pasture. You do what Greg Judy calls the discovery method. You turn them out in the spring, and then you discover how big they are and how many you have left in the fall.
Right.
Gather them up into a cattle trailer, and you haul them down to the auction.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people around here that do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you have enough land to just turn them out, let them, The best way I heard it put was when you see a farmer open all his gates, the farm's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
When you open all your gates, then you're just opening the entire farm to the animals. They can go where they want. They can eat what they want. You're no longer paddocking. You're no longer stewarding those animals. You're just like, go for it, survive.
Go do your thing. Yeah.
And we witnessed that with a neighboring farm. As the gentleman got up in years, he finally just went out and opened all his gates and kept cows that way for another 2 years before he passed away.
Yeah.
And the whole place just becomes overgrown in areas and overgrazed in others.
Right.
Rather than rotating where the cattle, you eat this today and then you eat this tomorrow.
Right.
Okay. I'm trying to stay out of the weeds here. But
the overgrown weeds.
Yeah, the overgrown weeds. So the discovery method is like the second method. And that's the majority of grass grazed
operations.
Beef operations.
Yeah.
And then up from there would be, intensive rotational grazing, kind of like Jill Salatin does. And that would be where it was how we did our cow.
Yes.
We don't have very much grass. And so we have to be very intentional if we want her grazing grass exclusively. And so you set up a paddock every day and you move the cows to that paddock and that's what they eat for that day. And the next day you have a paddock set up and the day after, and it's a different paddock, and you move around your property until, in our case, it was about 30 days before we would come back to where we started. We could stretch it to 60 days when the calf that was with our dairy cow was smaller.
Yes.
But as he started eating full-size cow rations, that 60-day rotation turned into a 30-day rotation.
Plus it changes like summer versus
Oh, yeah. When you got that spring grass going on.
It's so good.
You make these itty-bitty paddocks and graze your cow. So, back around to the meat commodities market.
Yeah.
Tyson closing down a couple plants. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of our meat production, our meat handling has been outsourced to China. So there's a lot of our cattle that get sold at auction, and whether they get slaughtered here or shipped overseas, I'm pretty sure they slaughter them here, ship just the carcasses over to China. They get packaged and processed and all of the extra stuff, and then they come back on a boat.
Shipped all the way back.
Right. The problem with that is you don't know which animals are which.
Right.
Once they have massive grinders that they're going to throw multiple animals worth of meat.
Right.
Hundreds of animals worth of meat into these giant meat grinders to make the burger and the sausage and whatever else they're making.
Right.
So who's to say there's not a few raccoons and armadillos in there too? Like, we don't know. It's in an entirely different country that has entirely different food standards than us, and they don't have the best track record for cleanliness.
Right.
So yeah, reason right there for not being interested in partaking in that kind of meat. So option 2, this is the discovery method, which is the majority of grass grazers, even around us.
Right.
It was this way in California. It's this way across the country. The way the majority of people raise their cattle, if they have any kind of acreage, you just fence the perimeter and turn the cows loose. There's some basic formulas for cow days acreage-wise. If you have 100 head of cattle, then you need so much acreage to just turn them loose on.
Right.
It's a very inefficient way to graze your animals. It's a very inefficient use of their manure. It's an inefficient use of their grazing, because what a cow is going to do is they're going to go and eat all of the delicious
favorite things.
The ice cream. They go eat the ice cream first. They eat all their favorite tasty grasses, and they leave all the horrible tasting,
the broccoli.
The broccoli. They leave that. And a lot of times that stuff becomes woody and great big, and then they won't eat it anyways.
Right.
Okay, so let's just talk about that method for a second. As long as those cows remain untreated, then that truly is a grass-fed, grass-raised, and finished animal.
Right.
We're cool with buying that.
Yeah.
And for the most part, that's what we do buy.
Yes.
We know a few people that we've bought from that raise cattle the way we would. The problem we've had is there's high demand for that type of animal.
Right.
The other problem is If people are just, yeah, I got cattle, I just grow them out, they eat the grass, and then in the fall I take them to the sale barn.
Right.
Well, the problem with that is when we approach them and say, hey, do you treat your animals with anything? No, they've never even been dewormed.
Right.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
then this is exactly the animal that I am looking for.
Right.
It's grass-fed, grass-finished, no antibiotics, no pesticides, nothing. They don't spray their grass. This is clean meat.
Right.
They would rather take it to the sale barn than sell it to me.
Yes.
They would rather take it to auction.
Right.
Because the going rate on just generic beef is so high right now.
Yes.
It has been high. It's been high for, 3 years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
4 years. And so the struggle has been getting people to understand, no, we will pay a premium for this.
Right. We'll pay your sale barn price.
We'll give you better. We'll give you better than the sale barn.
Right.
But they're not interested.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't get it. And I'm talking local people.
Right.
It's been a struggle, maybe it's just habit. It's how it's always been. So that's how we're going to do it.
And it's easy because they just load them up, take 5 or 6 over in one trip kind of thing.
Come back with a pocket full of money.
Yeah. So that's been a struggle, is sourcing. So it was kind of interesting when you were sharing with me that article. I was kind of, like you said, my reaction was kind of like, okay, so
this affects us how?
Tyson closes a plant. Good for them. Like, we don't buy that junk.
So talking about it, what this does do is this affects our local national
beef economy. Yes, right.
So as they close down processing plants here, it means the processing is moving overseas.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means.
Right.
And so what that can do is that can affect our markets.
Mm-hmm.
If all of a sudden, I think I heard you can get between $6 and $8 a pound for beef at the sale barn. Yeah, okay. On the hoof. Okay, wow, that is a phenomenal price.
That is.
And so
last I'd heard was 3. So
I think it was our neighbor who was talking about taking a yearling down and getting 15 to 2,000.
That's pretty good.
Bigger ones you can walk away with $3,000 in your pocket.
Yeah.
And I was kind of astounded. I was like, that's a lot of money for a whatever beef.
Right.
And they don't care. They don't care what it is.
Yeah, you just buy it.
They just want beef.
Right.
So yeah, if big corporations like Tyson, Smithfield, if they start closing plants here in the United States, it means everything's moving overseas or just out of the country in general.
Right.
That will affect our market. That will affect our local beef economy and pork economy. Not that we buy any commercial anything.
Right, but it does affect the economy as, like, eventually it is going to affect us in one way or another.
Yeah.
As far as, like, what we are going to be paying for a local, discovered beef or grass-fed, you know, because it's a trickle-down effect.
It is.
The, giant corporations trickle down to this and they trickle down to that and then they trickles down to us eventually.
So whereas in the immediate short term, it does look like good news because it's like, oh, heck yeah, we could, the price of beef comes down a little bit.
Right.
We can afford to buy 2 cows in a year versus just 1 because it's very expensive to buy an entire beef.
Yeah.
And doing it the way we're doing it, I'm not buying a live animal and bringing it here and processing it.
No.
We will buy the live animal. They will take it to the processor. We pay the processor. We get the animal.
Right.
It's, labeled not for resale. Like this is a private party deal. We can do that legally. It works out.
Just because we don't have a place to hang it right now.
Yep.
That's been the big reason for not
buying a live animal. I could build a pen and I could do the feedlot thing, buy in some cows and then just feed them out and process them as I get to it or as the weather permits, that kind of thing. But with everything we've got going on, that's not in the cards.
Right.
I'm not going to do that right now. It is a big job to process a cow.
It is.
Like, it is a very monumental job. I have the help, so it's not as scary, but it is a big job.
Yeah.
So the problem with the price coming down, eventually what happens is people get rid of their cows. They don't raise as many cows.
Right.
And it's the law of supply and demand.
Right.
Okay.
Because they're getting rid of cows because they're not going to be making as much as a sale barn.
Mm-hmm.
But then, when you don't have enough cows on the market,
the price goes back
then the
up.
price goes back up. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's going to affect us one way or another.
I don't know if other people have had the same problem across the country, but trying to find local beef that is humanely raised and properly grazed, clean, that someone will sell you.
Right. It's not that nobody around here's raising animals. They are. It's just nobody wants to sell it to us directly. They just want to take it to the sale barn.
They want to take it to the sale barn.
I think because, like you said, that's the way it's always been done. It's just a common model. And I guess it's weird to have an individual family be like, I want to buy your cow. And then the attitude is kind of like, well, we can get better price at the sale barn. We're like, no. Take our money. We want this clean cow that you have.
We'll give you over what the sale barn wants.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just been a weird thing. It has. Even close friends.
Yeah.
We've experienced this with. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, you'd rather take it to the sale barn?
Right.
Like, tell me how much the sale barn will give you. I'll double it.
Yeah,
and I will still get a better product than going to the store.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been a struggle. It's been hard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk a little into the why. Why are we so concerned with all of this? Why do we not? I guess there was a little show prep.
Okay.
Talking about. I feel like we're beating a dead horse by talking about food all the time, but food is a very, very big deal.
I mean, you need it to survive.
You need a farmer at least 3 times a day.
Right.
I'm gonna do the quote. I believe it's Hippocrates.
I think so. Yeah.
Who did this quote? It's the "Let thy food be thy medicine, and let thy medicine be thy food." I probably put that backwards, but you get the point.
Yes.
It really is true. And for us, we figured that out, I don't know, probably a little over a decade ago.
Yeah.
We started eating cleaner, started cutting out the junk. You've told your story about how you woke up and realized what was going on. And, it's not what you put on your body, but what you put in your body.
Right.
And it just snowballs. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, just kind of like how we got there. I mean, we've talked about this in a previous episode, but definitely just being aware. I mean, because our first pregnancy, I got sick. And there's a whole lot of factors that could have possibly gone into that. There's been a lot of research done on preeclampsia, which is what I had. But knowing what I know now, it's like, okay, I feel like our diet had a lot to do with it. Or lack of diet,
Yep.
We were eating like white processed food from boxes, on a regular basis.
Standard American diet.
Lots of fast food, all that kind of stuff. And when I found the Weston A. Price Foundation, and then, some things that were kind of connected to that and around that, and just like true diet stuff, like eating real food. And I was like, oh, that's probably why I got so sick and why my body wasn't able to handle like having twins and just a pregnancy in general and all that kind of stuff. So that was the impetus for me of looking up, all that, what to eat and how to eat and when to eat and that kind of thing. So that was a big deal. And, of course that led me to, well, what's wrong with the food that we have been eating? It's not just, oh, we need to eat more fruits and vegetables. It was like, here's the problem with the stuff from the grocery store that you're getting. And so it was a lot of dives, like you talked about Food Inc., which is a documentary that kind of goes over the CAFO food system and, profit over people kind of thing. And just how gross it is. And then, that led to another documentary, and that led to another documentary, and that led to another documentary. And it was just a whole lot of like, I remember spending nap times, we'd have lunch and I'd put the kids down for a nap and you'd be at work and I'd be like going in the office and popping on another documentary. And like every day I'm just like sucking these up and researching and reading and trying to figure out and realizing that the modern American food system Like I said, it's profits over people. For the most part, they don't care if the animals are healthy.
Mm-mm.
Thus the CAFO system. These animals are being raised in their own sludge, and they're eating things that weren't necessarily meant for like a cow to eat. They're highly vaccinated and medicated because of living in their own sludge. We know what happens with people if they're all living in their own filth. Like you get plague and
you get all sorts
black
of diseases.
death and gross stuff. Just look back in history, you see that. And putting animals in that situation isn't any better. And so, that's just the meat,
Yeah, that's just
And then
meat.
you have vegetables that are like highly sprayed, highly fertilized with chemicals and, herbicides to keep bugs off and all this kind of stuff. So I did this really deep dive of like, what have we been eating exactly?
Yes.
And then, on the flip side of that, that's just like meat and vegetables. But then the other side of it is the stuff you're eating that's not actually food. So like the stuff that was in our boxes of, mac and cheese and hamburger helper and all these kind of things. And you start reading ingredients, or you go down the list of what is in these things. And it's like, okay, that's tree, like that's sawdust. That's a chemical. That's a preservative. There's only 3 things in this list of like 20 ingredients that's like actually food based, and even then it's so like bastardized and denuded.
Yep.
And it's just been extracted so much that by the time you're ingesting it, you're basically eating glue and cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like, okay, well, no wonder we don't feel good all the time. We're eating glue and cardboard and poisoned meat and vegetables.
Yep.
And we just started doing everything we could to like change that.
Yes.
And it was a very slow, drawn out, long process.
Well, what made it so slow was because there's these favorite foods, these staples, these things that we have always enjoyed since we were kids. And you read something, you learn something, and then you turn the box over and you read that those ingredients that are known carcinogens are right there on the label.
Right.
And it's this weird, it causes this disruption in your thinking.
Yes.
And you just, well, I haven't died yet.
Right.
Well, if it was poison, they wouldn't put it in.
Right.
Well, why would that be in there?
Yeah.
I just read about this chemical, and there's that chemical. Mm-hmm. You have this really hard time mentally as you make that switch.
Right.
And when you finally work up the willpower to set that thing down and never touch it again, you win.
Yeah.
And I would say getting to that point is a very long and drawn out.
It is long and drawn out. There's been some things where it's like, all right, we're just going to chuck it right away. I've talked about my Crisco incident.
Yeah.
Where I started reading about soy and particularly hydrogenated soybean oil, which is Crisco. And that was easy. It was like, chuck it. No big deal. But it was an easy switch because we already had, olive oil or butter or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then some of these other things that we're, like you said, we're used to from childhood, or we just really enjoy the taste or whatever, and we haven't found like a switch or how to make it ourselves or whatever, that was very hard and long. And then there's also like the convenience factor of everything.
Yes.
When you're so used to like just chucking a Lunchable at your kids because that's easy, it's hard to change that as well. But there was also a lot with our kids of like, I'd read about food dyes, and they get the fruity gummy snacks.
Yep.
And then you read about how it messes with their brains and their focus and their attitudes and their hormones and all of that. And then you give them the gummy snacks, and you're like, "What is your problem? Why are you bouncing off the walls?
Why are you
and
acting
climbing the
this
ceiling?"
way?
I was like, "Oh, 1 and 2. Okay, we're putting that together.
Yeah. Put it together."
Yeah. And so it was a long, long shift. It was very incremental because it would be like, oh, we learned about this little thing and then we change that. And then we learn about this little thing and then we change that. Mm-hmm. So it's not like an overnight thing. Like you said, it's been like a decade and we're still making changes. Mm-hmm. We were actually just talking this morning about our current diet and how it's very good all in all, you know, but there's still some things like we're still very like carb heavy in a lot of areas, like bread.
Even though it's organic.
It's organic bread. Like we made the shift to organic, and that's great.
And you bake everything.
And I bake everything. Like it's all homemade. It's all homemade from scratch. And we try very hard to source our ingredients very clean and, have standards and whatever. But even then, at the end of the day, if we're still very bread heavy and we're not eating a lot of meat and vegetables, well, okay, we got to look at that and be like, okay. So again, just like small shifts over time. That is a process. It's a long process.
It is a process. So we were pursuing this back in California. We've talked about this. I said at the beginning, it's like beating a dead horse is what it feels like. But there are people out there that have never heard some of this stuff that we talk about. I realize there's a lot driving, having an hour of drive time.
Car thoughts, yes.
Car thoughts. You had said that some people are like, hey, I need a source. I need a place where I can research what you just talked about. Mm-hmm. And some stuff we can cite. Mm-hmm. Some stuff we can't. Like if Meg's answering a comment to something I said and it was a post I saw on Telegram or wherever. Yeah. Good luck trying to dig that back up.
Right.
But we'll try to do better about having
citations and sources.
And stuff like
that.
Like if it means I have to have my phone out here and I can cite where you can find articles and stuff like that, then that's what I'll do. But for the most part, there's a lot of this stuff that we talk about, like documentaries. Mm-hmm. This is a lifetime of learning and researching and digesting information. And so it's not like it's all in one place where you can just, learn about everything. I will say, if you are wanting to learn more about how foods and diet and all of these things interact with your body, go to the Weston A. Price Foundation website. Mm-hmm. There are so many articles, and some of them you are going to have to speak a little scientese.
Right.
These are very in-depth studies that this organization has done.
Right.
And man, like the more you read this stuff, the more you have your head in it, the more it makes sense. The more this camera's all blown out. Look at that. There's a sunbeam right on the camera.
Oh, that's not going to work.
That is unfortunate.
You're not that angelic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. You got to fix the door.
Let's see.
Okay.
So the Weston A. Price Foundation is a great resource. Mm-hmm. It has been for us.
Yes.
I will say we don't follow their dietary guidelines.
Not strictly, no.
Like there is a whole bunch of fermentation that
I just don't have the brain power for at the moment. I mean, we do buy some like sauerkraut and stuff like that. But and then I don't soak a lot of our grains just because I have texture issues. So there's that. But we do try to follow, like we're very meat heavy.
Elaborate.
Oh, like soaked overnight oatmeal is disgusting.
I won't eat oatmeal.
Well, you won't eat oatmeal, period.
I can't eat oatmeal. I will perish.
Yeah, but you don't like oatmeal anyways. But try soaking it overnight with like vinegar or something. It's not taste yogurt usually.
You soak
it with like yogurt, yeah. Which for some people would probably be fine, but I have texture issues and
This girl can't even eat a banana.
I mean, I can if it's like fairly ripe.
She likes bananas that are just on the edge of crunchy.
Yes.
You have to really chew them. I like bananas you can slurp through your teeth.
Yeah, no, there ain't no slurping here. It's disgusting. So I had the overnight oatmeal thing and I almost gagged and I was like, nope, not happening ever again. It's disgusting. So I don't ferment a lot of our grains. I mean, I do sourdough, but nothing crazy. So
there's a lot of like stuff that the Weston A. Price Foundation is really big on that we have found it just doesn't work for us.
Right.
Not to say there aren't some things from that foundation that we've adopted.
Right.
Really what it has come down for us is we do eat a meat heavy diet. Mm-hmm. And it's as clean a meat as we can get. And we either raise it or we buy it.
Source it clean. Yeah.
And everything else we buy in, the grain, we get grain from, our flour comes from Azure Standard. Mm-hmm, right. And we had a conversation, or I did, with a guy on the other podcast I'm a part of.
Yeah.
I interviewed Jeff from Gridlessness. And do I need to move my microphone? Sorry. I interviewed Jeff from Gridlessness a couple a week or two ago, and he was talking about self-sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really smart what he said, because we have also come to that realization. He said self-sufficiency is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You will never be 100% self-sufficient.
Right.
You're not going to go collect dirt and smelt it down and make iron
Right.
and start making your own tools. You're not going to grow 100% of your food. He said, any of these people on YouTube that say they are, 100% self-sufficient are liars.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope we never
come across
as being self-sufficient.
Right.
And no, if we have a year where we grow, just say 50% of our food.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. What you put in your mouth counts.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're counting the bread, the snacks,
the sugar, the
everything,
nuts, the
seasoning,
right,
what went in your mouth. When we started growing garlic, I thought we were going to become self-sufficient with garlic.
Yes.
And realizing we need to grow 10,000 bulbs of garlic a year to cover how much garlic we eat.
Yes.
We love garlic. Garlic is a staple. We use as much garlic as we do salt.
Right. It's just about
like we love us some garlic. Actually, that's not too far off.
No, that's probably about right. Yeah.
Like, you buy those massive sacks of garlic granules.
Powder,
and we go through it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's shocking.
We eat a lot of garlic.
Fair bit of black pepper.
Mm-hmm.
We can't grow black pepper here.
Right.
It's too cold.
Right.
Tea and coffee.
Maple syrup.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that we can't grow here. We never will be able to. So self-sufficiency is it's a farce.
It is.
Now, can you become independent?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty independent.
Yeah, we can stock up on stuff and, only need a grocery store once or twice a year.
Right.
We can do that. We have done that.
Mm-hmm.
When you do it's usually around January, you start it's time for a pantry challenge.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't think it was this last year. I think it was the year before. It was 4 months before you went to the grocery store.
Right.
Everything else, either we were getting from Azure, and even then,
it was minimal.
Yeah. It was like, just replacing stuff that we were out of, but not buying hardly anything at all. And it really does wake you up when it's like, let's eat through all of our flour. Let's eat through, all of the older stuff, so we don't have it sitting here going rancid. Because that's something people don't realize either. If you store your grains and you don't have them stored properly, they go rancid.
They do, yeah.
They go completely rancid.
Right.
And so when you're eating them, you're creating free radicals in the body. You're doing damage to yourself.
Right.
So there is a way to store food. And there's a way to eat food. There's a time to eat food. To be self-sufficient, you're eating in season.
Right.
And so that's been something that we've tried too, is like, let's only eat in season.
Yeah, that itself has been an interesting journey when we were like, okay, we got the whole like natural eating, not boxed stuff down. But now it's like, then we were like still buying strawberries out of season and still buying this and that and all these fruits and vegetables. It's like, okay, well, what does it look like if we start eating them when they are available? Naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had a conversation with Buggy yesterday where she was like, can we go to the produce stand and get
peaches,
a cantaloupe first?
Cantaloupe,
and we were like, no, it's not cantaloupe season. Well, what about a watermelon? No, it's not watermelon season. Well, what about peaches? And so we had this discussion of like, no, they're not available. And that's actually been really cool. I was talking to a young woman the other day, and she was talking about how she's starting to eat in season. I was like, it changed your life, doesn't it? And she's like, yeah. She's like, and it makes you appreciate those things so much more when you're not just stuffing your gullet with them all year long, Like when it's strawberry season, you're like, oh, strawberries. So thankful for strawberries. Love strawberries. Like we love peach season around here. Peaches are like, we know from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
It's peach season.
It's peaches, and it is so good. And they're in season, and they're local. For us, we try to buy as local as we can for a lot of these things as well.
One of the fun things about eating in season, we moved from the breadbasket of the world.
Mm-hmm.
The Central Valley of California is where all of the nation's produce comes from.
Yeah.
People have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be out here and, oh yeah, they grow strawberries over here and they grow this over here. And it's like, Yeah, and in California, in the Central Valley, you can drive for an hour in any direction and see 100 different crops.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you've never seen artichokes
Right.
grown anywhere.
Right.
Like, we traveled the country. The only place I've ever seen artichokes grown commercially is in California. The only place I've ever seen olives grown commercially is in California.
Yes.
You know, you go
almonds
or you know, any of these
garlic,
things. Not to say it can't be done somewhere else.
Totally.
But the climate is so perfect for farming out there. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. But where I was going with that is a fun game to play once you start eating seasonally is look at the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the calendar, see what you can eat seasonally, see what's fresh, see what's available. I think February is the only hard one.
Yes, it is.
So out here, March, April, that's when it starts. We can get strawberries starting in April.
Yeah, they're not the best.
They're not the best. In May, they're the best.
Mm-hmm. At
the end of May is when blackberries start coming in. At the end of May into June, all your stone fruit comes in. That's your pear or plums,
peaches, nectarines,
from Labor Day to Memorial Day, that's peach season. So you get peaches all summer.
Yeah.
Well, usually after about a month, we start getting sick of peaches.
Yeah, we do.
Gosh, what else?
Well, and you got all your melons.
Yeah, then the melons start coming in.
And then
stuff
towards
like that.
the end of summer, you get actually early season apples.
Yep. You actually start getting apples around here, and they're literally around here.
Yes, they are.
Even the ones on our tree. We finally figured out that all of our trees are early season apples.
Yeah.
And they are all done by August.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apples start coming on in July, not to mention all the other fruit. In the middle of July, you've got garden in full swing.
Right.
So then you get on into August and apples start and you've got your, various late season stone fruit and stuff like that. And then apple season is like, the end of summer into fall.
Right.
And then we wrap up, like right now, we're in November, we're going into December, and citrus season starts.
Yes.
Citrus we can get from South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, down there. We haven't found any citrus up here. Someone's got to have a heated greenhouse. Like I'm sure somebody does, but we haven't found them yet. Maybe we'll be those people.
Maybe we will.
But there is fruit in every season.
Yeah. In
our climate. I'm sure there's fruit that I'm forgetting.
Right.
But once you start playing that game of eating seasonally, it is really fun.
Yeah.
In fall time, we pick up a lot of black walnuts. Now, me and Buggy are the only ones who eat them, but I love me some black walnuts.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. Just nobody picks them up anymore.
Right.
And so I have been known to pull over on the side of the road and fill up a grocery bag.
Right.
But yeah, it's cool. Eating in season it's a fun game. And the more you do it, it's not so much about eating locally as it really is just eating in season.
In season.
And as you learn to eat in season, you change how you eat.
Yeah, totally.
Like you really do change how you eat. Reading various books and stuff like that, everybody eats meat heavy during the winter and then you eat out of the garden during summer.
Garden season,
During garden season. And I always heard that, and that was how my great aunts always ate. Okra, green beans, all the stuff they eat out of the garden during summer. And then they eat, you eat meat, or you can all summer.
Right.
And then you have those vegetables through the winter. It really, I always wondered, it was like, man, don't you just want, this or that?
A strawberry or whatever.
Well, then as we started eating in season, it really is about preserving and putting stuff away and figuring out ways to get that stuff to last.
Right.
So you can eat it out of season.
Yes.
It's kind of a mark of our decadent society is eating out of season.
Fresh. Eating fresh. Yeah. Yeah. Out of season. Yeah. And I think what's nice is that's something you can do without homesteading. Like you can find your local farms. You can find your produce stands. Even if you're going to buy it from the grocery store, if you're able, you can check the label. It'll tell you where it's from. and you can be like, oh, this is from the US, so this is in season at this time. So that would be a time to buy it.
That's an education issue too.
Mhm.
Like, when are strawberries ready?
Right.
They are the first fruit
Yes.
of spring.
I always thought they were like all summer long.
Yeah, no.
I did not know that. I always just
Yeah.
assumed that. I mean, I knew like berries were a summer thing, and so I just always thought, oh, they're in season all summer long. And then here, our season is like 6 weeks. I was
Yes.
like, oh, whoa, I have been way, way off course on this of eating strawberries all summer long.
A little bit spoiled.
A little bit spoiled. Yeah. And now, you know, we have our 6 weeks of strawberries, and we eat the heck out of some strawberries. And
Until
then
we're
by the time
sick.
it's over, we're like, oh, can't. Look at
I don't
another
want to look at a
strawberry.
strawberry.
Right.
I think what's funny is we will eat in season until we're absolutely sick of it.
Mhm.
We have put it away. We've canned. We've made jams. We've everything we can think to do. Dehydrate.
Right.
And it gets to the end of the season. You're like, good riddance.
That's right.
I never want to see another
No.
strawberry. And then you make it through winter.
Right.
And you've eaten a lot of meat because, you know, right now we're going into full swing of meat season. We are preserving meat. We're curing meat. We're canning meat. We're just processing meat.
Right.
And we're eating a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Which, you know, no complaints here.
Yeah.
But by like February, March, it's like, I just want a salad.
Yeah, just
like
fresh
I just
vegetables.
want fresh.
Yes.
And it really is nice to get into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. So that's been an interesting journey of learning to eat fresh and, you know, roll that. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping this episode up, you already talked about the Weston A. Price Foundation and how that kind of like kicked us off in just like education. What are some other sources that you would suggest to people as far as any of what we talked about, either education about learning what's in your food and why you need to eat different, or like source like learning the seasons or anything like that?
So one of the people are gonna laugh. I cannot think of her name. Food Babe.
Oh, Vonnie, I forget her last name. Yeah.
So you can just look up Food Babe.
Yeah.
I found her on Instagram years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought Meg was crazy. I was like, you are nuts. Like, they are not putting this much poison in our food.
Yeah.
And then I found the Food Babe, and she's like, okay. Like, it just started with, here's a European Mountain Dew and an American Mountain Dew. There are 5 ingredients in the European one, and there's 20 in the American.
Yes.
You cannot import an American soda to Europe.
And why not?
Why not? There's that pesky why question. And so it lists out every ingredient. You know, it's a side-by-side comparison. They even look different. You know, the color isn't right. Like it looks different. And, you know, at the time I was sucking down the Mountain Dew, and it was like, you know, all the things. It's like heartburn. I always have had heartburn.
Yeah.
I quit drinking sodas. I quit ingesting corn syrup and sugar and all this stuff. And I don't get heartburn. I used to think it was red sauce.
Yeah.
I can't have red sauce. It's too acidic. Well, if I haven't had any sugar, I can handle red sauce just fine. So
yeah.
Was it really the acidic food, or is it the chemical-laden sodas and
everything
food,
else?
everything else? I do notice if I have any extra sugar, I do get heartburn. Yeah. I don't get heartburn anymore.
Right.
And I do not consume very much sugar anymore. Not that I'm opposed to sugar.
Right.
It's nice not feeling that way. It's the cliche. Being skinny feels better than this food tastes.
Something
I always hate hearing people say that, but it's like feeling this good feels better than the junk food tastes.
Yes, right.
And I mean, yeah.
So Food Babe was one of those.
Yeah.
That was probably the big one for you.
That was the big one for me because it was easily digestible and it's a side-by-side comparison.
Yes.
Like, here's, you know, just your normal run-of-the-mill foodstuffs that everybody eats, feed, human feed. And it was enough for me to kind of start asking questions like, well, what are these chemicals? Like, why do we need chemicals in food?
Right. And why does Europe not allow it?
Well, because those chemicals are banned for use in foodstuffs.
Yes.
And so it's kind of shocking when you start looking at it. And then, you know, the next question is, when you're asking the why is, well, who owns these companies? What's really going on here? And when you start asking the why and you start following money, that's when it really becomes apparent.
Mm-hmm.
So the chemical companies are massive.
Right.
They are massive, massive corporations. Most of these chemical companies, your Bayers, your Monsantos,
Mm-hmm.
those companies, they also are heavily involved in the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
Along with, just making chemicals, they're very heavily involved in the agricultural part of our economy. So what happens is these chemical companies say, hey, we have a chemical that goes great on corn, whatever, insert your vegetable here. But those same people in charge of the chemical companies and the, ag poison and fertilizer companies, it all comes back to the chemical companies. Those same people in charge there, when they time out, they go work for the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
And when they time out at, whatever job, they go work for our government.
Mm.
And so there's this massive revolving door of people that are very high up in our government that came from the chemical industry or the pharmaceutical industry. And it's this big revolving door where they go from the chemical companies to the pharmaceutical companies back to Congress. And it really is sickening when you start realizing it's like, oh, that's why these rules, these generally regarded as safe, gross chemicals are put in our food, is because it's in the interest of these chemical companies. It's all in the interest of making money.
Yes.
Can't hate on someone for making some money, but it's at the expense of everybody's health.
Right.
And we are so dumbed down as a society, nobody asks why anymore.
Right.
So for me, when I started asking those questions and I started making the connections, it's like, oh, this guy, Jim Bob over here used to work for Bayer, and now he has worked for 8 years in Congress as whatever, a lobbyist or whatever. And then when he quit doing that, he's now got a job working for whatever pharmaceutical company. It's like, uh-oh, this is a conflict of interest.
Right.
Uh-oh, this is people causing the illness and selling the treatment. Uh-oh.
That's a problem.
And so when you start making those connections and, I wish I had a source for you. I wish I could just, go to this website. Here's this article. You just have to do the work, the hard work. You have to dig into it. You have to research.
Yeah. And I think Food Babe talks about that. Joel Salatin does talk about that. He's actually a good resource for a lot of this stuff as well, and the work he does. Rogue Food Conference. And,
oh, gosh, the Rogue Food Conference, if you can...
John Moody.
Yeah, get into all that.
Yeah, that's a good source for, learning what's going on. And, like the Weston A. Price Foundation, they talk about that as well. So, education in a lot of areas and kind of, just what's going on in that sphere of power and influence. Yeah.
So as we kind of come to an end of this very chopped up episode where we've been all over the place, do we eat clean out of fear, or do we eat clean for a different reason?
Ooh, that's a good question. Right at first I was like, no, absolutely not. But actually, it kind of clicked into my brain. I guess you could say a little bit of fear in the sense of I'm afraid for my children's health long term. And maybe not even afraid is the right word. I'm very concerned about my children's health. But I guess my thinking on that is I don't want them to be sick later on because of anything that I've done. They're going to turn to be adults and they can make their own decisions. But right now they're under our care. And we've talked about this before too. So yeah, I guess I do I think about the consequences that could happen if we were to just eat, the normal standard American diet kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily eating clean out of fear. It's eating clean out of preservation.
Yeah.
It's eating clean. This is, we're called to be stewards. Stewards of the earth. that includes our family, that includes our
Right,
children,
right.
that includes the world around us.
Stewards of creation.
Stewards of creation.
And we are created.
Yep.
So.
So to me, if you knowingly feed this trash to your family, that's bad on you.
Right.
Like that truly is bad on you.
Right.
Having, I think it was Tony Merkel said, he's like, I wish I could go back. I wish I could eat the Beyond Meat and think it was the best thing in the world, but I know too much now. So now I have to eat clean and be careful.
Right.
And that resonated with me. Like, I really do feel that way. I know too much now. I know some of these chemicals that they've put into food are going to slowly lobotomize you. They're going to give you cancer. They're going to give you Alzheimer's.
Right.
Like, that's what these chemicals do. They're known to do this, and that's just how it is.
Right.
So, yeah, it's not necessarily out of fear. It's a stewardship issue. Man, it is so hard to stay focused and on track when camera batteries die and interruptions and
yeah.
Let's just stop and have a lunch break in the middle of this podcast.
We tried, y'all.
Okay, this has been a rough one.
The fact that we've kept at it and got it done is a good thing.
If you're hearing this is because we just sucked it up
we powered
through. All right, that is going to do it for the main show. We are going to continue sitting here fighting the elements.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe is it going to be a full moon?
I have no idea.
Like usually weird stuff goes on when there's a full moon.
True. Or solar flares or something like that.
Solar flares.
Yeah.
Mercury's incinerating.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So we're going to start the after show here shortly. If you are interested, there's a link down below. Link in the description. You can go down there and hop over to Patreon if you want and become a member.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to do it for this episode.
Okay.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Bye.